Okay, today we're going to work on balancing our presets across different types of presets, from the cleanest ones to the dirtiest ones, but having them uniform in output volume so that when you're playing live you can switch between them and your sound guy won't have a problem if you're running direct front of house. I use the Axe-FX, so the first thing I want to do is just kind of check, make sure my input levels are correct, and to do that there's a LED gauge that shows up and an I/O panel as soon as you hit the I/O button. If you watch the Axe-FX and you watch the LEDs next to the screen, the hardest hits on my hardest transients are going to set the reds off and not hold it there. That's what I want to make sure I got my input going into the analog to digital converters is right. Over on the utility button and then in the status tab, there's input and output levels. So today I'm going to go from my cleanest clean and we'll go through some dirty ones and then show you how I do the preset matching in terms of output. On the left of the screen are the input levels, on the right are the output levels. I want to make sure that my input and output are pretty much what gets confused and talked about a lot on the forums, but unity gain. I want to make sure what's going in is what's coming out. It's pretty close, so that's my baseline. That's where I set it. That's one of my keys. If I have that right, then I know I have room to crank things up if I need to with boosts, and not worry about clipping the output, because that's one thing you just don't want to do. So the key to all this is, how do you measure your output? The way I do it is with a SPL meter, which I have down here. And I'm going to awkwardly try to hold this and then show you what the numbers do and how I set it up. This is a pretty cheap one. It's not expensive. It's called Checkmate, and it was about, I think, 40-50 bucks, but I use it all the time, so it's been a pretty good investment. It's pretty simple. You can just turn it on. It's got max levels and everything, but I don't need to do any of that. I set it for C weight, which is music, slow response. One of the keys to setting these preset volumes when you're tuning this in is making sure you do it at a loud enough level where it's going to translate well to when you play live. So I'm going to crank it up a little bit. Normally I'll put headphones on and not bash my ears about it, but just to get this done, we'll just get it done. So I'm going to put this down. In essence, it doesn't need to be super accurate. All you need is some kind of FRFR. I'm going to be using the RCF NX12 SMA. It can crank. We'll get it up pretty loud. And all I needed is relative to itself with this and the meter in terms of where it's at. So I tend to put it in one place, just leave it there throughout the test. And I'll just balance a couple of presets, and then that'll be it. Now what I do is, when I play clean, is I play differently than when I play cranked up. But I'm just going to bash about on the guitar because I got one hand holding the camera and one hand's going to be hitting the strings. So. So about 112, 113's in the middle there. So that'll be my baseline. I've already kind of got my output set. I just went through and messed with a bunch of different things earlier today. So it'll be different when I go to the preset I want to check. I'll go to a heavier sound, for instance. This is my JCM 800. And what I'll do is basically do the same thing. What I want to see is the numbers somewhat in the same range. So I'll see higher numbers and lower numbers. The transients are different, but I want to see it come in around that 112, 113 range, somewhere in the middle. So that was showing me, I saw 115, 117, 120. So I'm probably about 4 or 5 dB high. So What I do is, to keep it simple, I only turn my volumes up and down in one place on the Axe-FX. There's a lot of places you can do it in the Axe-FX, and that leads to people getting a little confused. I try to keep it simple. So what I do is I go over to the amp block and I go to the output level, which is right now assigned to modifier knob C, and I'm going to turn that down about 5 dB, and then I'm just going to run the little test again and see where I'm at on the output level. So that was low. I'm going to turn up a little bit. It's pretty close. So here, we'll just save that off. Store enter gets it saved, and then what I'll do is just go back and forth between the two and use my ear. And then if I think it's pretty close using my ear and it matches up with what I'm seeing on the SPL meter, then I'm pretty much done matching those two presets. And then the process just repeats. And when you get it done, what I like to do is cycle through all my presets all in a row, and then kind of listening. And different ones will sound louder than other ones, but overall the uniform volume will be pretty even. I might make minor tweaks at that point, but in essence, that's pretty much the whole process.